It's Friday, and Fridays mean 15% more fun. Maddie Smith is in the house, and we have a hodgepodge, a buffet, a casserole of theological questions to ask you today.
Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here. Let's get it started in here.
Welcome to The View from a Pew, a conversation among Christians who are out to grow their faith by asking the simple questions, the tough questions, and the stuff you really wish your pastor would talk about. Come on now, let's reason together. It's your voice we want to hear. The phone lines are open, so join the conversation. Call 855-244-0077. That's 855-244-0077. Now, here's your host, J. Michael McCoy.
All right, good afternoon, 21st day of September in the Lord's year 5773, according to the Jewish New Year that we learned yesterday. Otherwise, for those of you who just woke up and were rubbing the sleep out of your eyes and thought, oh no, I overslept by 3,000 years. No, Van Winkle, you're just fine. But got to pay respect to our Jewish brothers every once in a while and say the right year. That's only fair.
What's the year again?
It's 5773. But what's interesting, and Robert, back me up, or not, don't back me up, but just make sure this is accurate. They don't believe that that's the year that Adam and Eve were born or brought to this earth.
Yeah, or the world was created.
The world was created.
At that, everything was created at
Yeah.
that time. Right. They said that. They said that they didn't believe that.
You think that was just personal beliefs, or is that Jewish belief?
I don't know. Could be personal. I mean, they were saying that doesn't match carbon dating, which, so that what they're saying is that science is disproving what they may have believed. I don't know. And so my feeling is that, my God's a big God. If he created the universe, he can create the universe in 6,000 years ago.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned. But, and nobody can disprove that. They're using, I'm a scientist. It's not that I'm, I've studied a lot of this before in the past, and it's about where your foundation is as to what you believe.
Right.
And the other thing you have to consider is that the constants that we know of today, physics and the constants today may not have been constant 6,000 years ago.
I don't know what that means.
Well, that means that, at the speed of light, for instance, 186,000 miles per second.
Yeah.
How do you know that that's what it was 6,000 years ago?
That's true.
We don't know that. We're making assumptions based on what we know now and what we've measured now.
So when somebody says carbon dating doesn't prove that, so what is the argument?
Well, if they find a bone, then they'll, do some testing on it to see and try to make it age it.
Yeah.
They use it by how long it takes for elements to break down, how long it takes for them to age, and so they determine that and then go in and then say, okay, we know that it takes this much time for this element to break down, therefore this is this old. And so that's how they do it, and therefore they make assumptions like they'll say this is 4 million years old, this bone, Well, nobody can prove that. They're just basing it on what we know now, what we know today. And that's why I have a problem with that, is that how do we know that everything was constant? Everything is the same now that it was then.
And how do we know?
We're just basing it on what we know now.
What
today.
did we know 50 years ago?
Well,
100 years. I mean, when did carbon dating become something that we had as a scientific method?
Yeah, I don't know how far back we were doing that or when we do it. But, our science is, advancing, and they were doing carbon dating, I know, for many years. But the question comes back to, how do you know that method is accurate? How do you know that the constants and that you know of today were constants then?
What I think is interesting, and I am the best grade I ever got in science was in 7th grade from Mr. Lorenz, and I just think he let me pass because he hated me so much. And I don't think I took much science after that. I was one of those minimum science and math guys. What do I have to take? That's what I'm going to take. Send me to basket weaving. When I was in high school, I did 2 years of home ec. I'm serious. So anyway, I'm not the brightest guy
Well,
in the.
you had a few restaurants, so it did you good.
Well,
You knew what were going on.
There you go.
Yeah.
So what I always think of science is kind of what you just said a minute ago, and that's what we know now. Because around the corner, we're going to find something else new out, and then that's what we'll know now.
True.
And I think the biggest proof of that, well, I suppose there's lots of proofs of that, but in my life, Maddie, one of the proofs of that would be that they got rid of Pluto as a planet.
Now, isn't that upsetting?
Well,
all our lives, Pluto was a planet.
Yeah, Pluto's a planet. We would not have had the Disney character Pluto if we hadn't had Pluto the planet.
Yeah.
So if all these years, how many years did we have Pluto as a planet? I mean, since Galileo?
Well, since they had a telescope strong enough to see it, more powerful enough to see that. So.
All right, and maybe I'm not remembering my history, but wasn't it Galileo that invented the...
Yeah, he had a telescope, yeah.
He didn't invent it?
Well, he probably did.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So let's say Galileo, and how old is Galileo? When I don't know. When Maddie, you're a smart guy. Wasn't he English? I don't know.
I don't know. Galileo,
I'd like to look it up.
doesn't sound English to me.
Do we have our internet connection yet? No? Well, okay. Maybe somebody will call in and tell us. But whenever that was, Galileo decided we had, how many planets were there? 12?
9.
9? Bob, is that right?
Maddie knows.
9.
9. Okay. So we had 9 planets. You studied in England, 9 planets, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Maddie, you studied at Southeast Polk, 9 planets. Bob, where'd you go to high school? Back in
Bayonne,
Leon?
Bayonne, New Jersey.
Oh, all right.
Oh.
And back in White Trash, Beatrice, Nebraska, we had 9 planets too. So now all of a sudden, 1995 or whatever it is, 2005 comes around, and some Yahoo decided what? That it wasn't big enough or didn't have its own orbit? Or
Well, in that orbit, there's a bunch of chunks of rocks.
Okay.
And they consider Pluto just a big rock, like an asteroid.
Okay.
And there are others that are out there in that little band where it's orbiting the Earth.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, Saturn has this, the rings. It's kind of like that type of a ring with all
Okay.
kinds of different stuff in there. But they're saying, so there are others that are out there too. So they can't consider that a planet because there are others that are similar and they consider it a...
And see, yes, Maddie.
They determine planets, what is a planet, by its orbit. And so Pluto's orbit, I don't remember the exact details, but its orbit wasn't like other planets. So that's why it was no longer a planet. They studied its orbit and it didn't fit.
So now they decide it's not a planet. See, so when any science guy comes at me about God, I say, well, that's what you've discovered up to now. But let me tell you what's going to happen. When you join your maker, your creator, back at the second half of your life, he's going to complete that circle of life of science. And you're going to find out, oh, I have a creator. Like everything has a creator. And all the science was invented by God.
Absolutely. It all was invented by him.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, Galileo, 1500s, he was a physicist, mathematician, and astronomer.
Okay.
Where was he from?
Where is he from? Well, let me see.
Sounds Italian.
Yeah.
Galileo?
Yep.
Doesn't that sound?
He's in that Bohemian Rhapsody Queen song, isn't he?
Yeah.
Galileo.
Is this just fantasy?
He was at the University of Pisa,
Italy.
Italy, okay.
Tuscany, Italy.
Italy, okay.
All right. The Falling Tower of Pisa. All right. So, anyway,
But you're right about the science.
we're all going to find out that it's God's thing in the end.
Yeah, you can still use science to prove creation, as the others are trying to prove that there wasn't a creator.
Yeah.
It depends on where you're coming from, where you are, and so.
And they use science to prove that there wasn't a creator.
Well, they're trying to.
Well, they can't.
Well, they've been
Right.
trying a long time.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the thing. So that's why I'm not going to give in to, well, it's all these years, because I think it comes down to how big is our God.
I was having a conversation on Facebook the other day. As those of you that are on Facebook know, I love to create questions, and I get some good ones. And I'm blessed to have a lot of good people that follow me and participate. And this one girl that I really care about, known her for, 3-4 years, Absolute atheist. Just, And she's kind about it, but she's a smart aleck, And I finally said something about, well, I'm sorry that your mental illness will not allow you to have a relationship with your Creator. And she got a little sideways with me. In fact, she went to a private message. And she said, why would you say that I have a mental illness? I said, I don't know how else to explain someone not recognizing their Creator. I don't mean it derogatory. I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt that you, for some reason, were made unable to recognize a relationship with your Creator. And I didn't mean to offend her, and I think by the end she understood where I was
I've heard
coming
that said the other way around too. So it's
how?
I've heard people accuse Christians of the same.
What?
Having a mental. No, I'm not saying it's right, but I've heard that argument.
Well, but there's a tremendous amount of evidence that God exists. There's very little evidence. Can you think of any evidence to prove that God doesn't exist? I mean, you're a science. What would they? What could somebody say with a science or theological background that would come to me and say there is no God and here's proof?
Well, the proof I would think that they would use is, well, look at 9/11. How could he allow that? If there was really a God, how could he allow children to be starving in Africa?
Okay, page 97 of the Old Testament. Move on.
I'm just saying that.
Well, but that doesn't prove anything.
No, but they're just saying that if he was, if God was there, then he wouldn't allow all these things to happen. That's where they're coming from. Therefore, how could it? So therefore, if he doesn't care.
But if they read the manual,
well, they don't.
What do they call the Bible? The basic instructions before leaving Earth?
Yes.
That's one of them. Mm-hmm. If they read that, they'd clearly understand why that happens in this life.
I don't know if they clearly understand it, but they would understand it.
Why people do bad things?
No, but why? But sometimes it's not even that. Sometimes just bad things happen because the world's fallen and it's in chaos
bad things usually happen because of sin.
Yeah, but not always. And it's not. Well, if it does, but it's not. You can't always establish the link. Like 9/11 is easy to say. Yeah, that happened because of this and this. These guys did this, and these guys believed in that, and what have you. But some things happen that you can't always do that. It's not easy to do that.
Yeah, well, some people call the 9/11 a judgment against our nation because of whatever sin. But some people have said that.
That has nothing to do with it.
But
that's crazy thought.
Well,
so God judges this nation. These, what are we, 300 million?
Yeah.
All right. So he judges 300 million people by having humans fly a man-made machine into a man-made building and kills what equals an eyedropper into a million-gallon swimming pool. If God was going to punish us, our arms would all drop off.
Well,
it would be like the Tower of Babel, and we would all be speaking different languages. I mean, that's what God would do. He wouldn't take a plane and throw it into a building.
But look at the impact of what happened economically. How our economy, after that occurred, it took a long time to try to recover from that. So it had ripple effects across the country.
I'm sorry, Bob. I'm not laughing at you. I just don't think God gives a rat's behind about our economy. I think if God wants to punish us, it will be an amazing punishment that we could not even dream of. And it would be so obviously, what's the word I want? Of God.
Well, who would argue? Who's arguing that? Who has argued that?
Oh, you've heard that. I mean, you hear that.
Yeah, I hear that. But Pat Robertson probably said it. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it may have. I don't know either.
Yeah, and isn't he the one that said Katrina was punishment for all the homosexuality in Louisiana?
Right.
Yeah, well. All right, it is a Friday. Friday's 15% more fun. Maddie Smith is in the house. Bob Montserrat, the Cat in the Hat. Maddie, we have a Maddie and a Maddie.
Yeah, but I'm T.
You're T?
M-A-T-T.
And she's D.
It's just the way you say it. You're talking about Babel, how everybody talks different. It happens in this studio.
she's got double D's, and you've got double T's.
Yeah.
And we'll be back. We are live on the radio, and we thank you for the opportunity to spend this afternoon with you, as we do every afternoon from 3 to 4. You've got a topic you want to talk about? Give us a call live.
How you doing, Brad?
Owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershide.
I am administrative manager
I am the senior technician.
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
You know, if we seem like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, you know, we want to show the world that you can have good service.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be, it's your home.
You know, it's built into our daily trainings, it's built into our culture, that we're going to do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's going to be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're going to do?
There is a guarantee.
Temperature selection guarantee, fixed right or it's free guarantee, comfort guarantee, best value guarantee. All of these guarantees hold us accountable to ensuring that we exceed your expectations. And if for whatever reason we fail and we can't make it right, we guarantee all of those guarantees with a 100% money back guarantee.
I mean, if you don't think that your technician can fix it right, are you going to say that to a client? No.
You don't have to worry about having a technician come to your house.
We drug test, background check all of our team members. We put safe people in your home. Each and every one of our service techs, 400 hours a year in training.
You tell it the minute they walk in the door. They know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and they actually truly care about what you want.
Because at the end of the day, you're the person that makes sure I have a job.
They're going to be listening. They're going to want to know what your challenges are. Then they're going to come and give you options, and you get to choose.
If I'm there to help and I make it easy and painless, I did my job right that day.
Well, when it comes to your comfort, safety, and your family, you know, you don't necessarily go buy the most expensive, but you get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, it's worth it, because there's a lot of people that will find a way to get it to work right now and then leave and then come back, charge you again, and the cycle just repeats itself. So when I'm out there looking at the furnace, I want to find why it failed today. How can we change the part today with something that you're not going to have to worry about? Is it worth changing the part today? I mean, you can put a lot of money into a furnace. I can fix parts all day. There's good job security in that for me, but is it the right thing for you?
I get a lot of the phone calls of after the technicians are there. They're just in awe. They're like, wow, you guys are great. I mean, I don't even know what to say. You guys are great. Everything you did was perfect. It was great.
Keep going though, I like this.
Just give us a try. I'm going to take all the risk.
I've got the time to make this right. I've got the support to make it right.
Just check us out.
And if you don't see the value in what we do,
I mean, fixed right or it's free or 100% money back.
enough said.
Come on now, let's reason together. The phone lines are open, and it's your voice we want to hear. So call 855-244-0077. Now, here's J. Michael McCoy.
Yoda. 21st of September in the Lord's year 5773. It's 3:21. Coming up the top of the hour, Salem Radio Network News, and then the best of Steve Dace. Maddie Smith in the house, along with Bob Montserrat, the Cat in the Hat, Maddie DeBolt, who's in our production room, and we're joined by Army Brad. He was late. Why were you late? It's Des Moines, Iowa, for heaven's sakes.
I'm still trying to get the skywalks all together in my mind. I don't have a map for them, so
in other words, you got lost.
I didn't get lost because I always knew exactly where I was at. So.
Yeah, I'm right here, right now.
Right here, right now.
That's a bit concerning for one of our armed forces, isn't it, to get lost?
That's why I retired.
To get lost. I mean, I get lost walking around here, but
Did you ever hear the story about when Brad took his first, what do you call it, parachute jump out of an airplane because he was training to be a paratrooper? Do you want to tell it? I'll tell it. And so anyway, he said...
I'm waiting to hear this one.
He said to the... and by the way, the visual is important here. So, Bob, you might explain what I'm doing visually at the end of the conversation, because I won't be able to really show it on the air, on radio. So anyway, Brad was, what was this, 1981, 82. He's doing his paratrooper training. And his captain says, now, when you jump out of here, just count to 10 and then yell Geronimo and pull the ripcord. And he said, what's Geronimo? And he said, it's just an Army thing. You guys had a lot of those things.
We did.
In the Army.
I have no idea what you're
so
talking
he
about.
says, yell Geronimo and pull the... So they open the door on the plane, and Brad, being the good, what were you, 18, 19-year-old, he jumps out, and you hear this 1, 2, 3, 4. Listen. Couldn't hear anything more, so he slams the door shut, and the plane just keeps going. Well, pretty soon, this guy hears a knock on the plane. Well, the pilot looks to co-pilot, but what's going on? There's a knock on the outside the door, you know? So they open up the door, and there's Brad going, what was that word I was supposed to say?
That's why he doesn't remember that.
Yeah. I do actually have a story of my first jump, but it has nothing to do with that.
It doesn't?
No.
You tell us about it sometime.
I do have a comment on chat.
Okay.
Now that I can see
Did they
it.
like my joke? Is that what their comment was?
No, it's about what our...
What was that word I was supposed to say?
It was our conversation before.
Oh, okay.
We went off.
The conversation we were having before was, well, it had accelerated to, does God punish society? Did God cause 9/11? Did God cause Katrina?
Okay, here.
Because we know God caused Sodom and Gomorrah and burning bushes and floods, so we know he could do that.
Right. How about the thought that what is happening is obvious judgment? To me, the events of 9/11 were allowed by the Lord at the very least. Were allowed. Meaning if he lifts his protection,
his grace
and grace from us, then this could happen. Anyway, I just wanted, now that I'm seeing chat.
Who said that?
THX.
Okay. I don't think you're right, THX, but try again. We'll keep reading what you come up with, but, maybe. We'll just see. All right. And where we started with, Brad, because you were late, because you were lost.
I was lost.
You lost, but now I'm found, was that science... Yesterday we had a couple Jewish guys on, really smart guys. We were talking about how the Jewish nation sees what's happening in the Middle East, what it looks like through their eyes. And they happened to remind me when I said Lord's Year 2012, he said, you know what year it really is? And I said, no, that's right. You guys just had a Happy New Year. And he said, it's year 5773. And so, like piece of dumb white trash I am, I said, oh, so Adam and Eve were created in 5773. He goes, no, we don't believe in that. Hold on. What? And Bob was Bob was buried into his computer, and he just perked right up because you said something to him. You don't believe that? No, we're not sure the age of the Earth.
Yeah, I said I believe that.
Yeah, you said you believe that. So we were kind of talking about science and how they try to use science to tell us the Bible isn't real. But in the end, science just proves that God is the creator, and he created all the science that these scientists are using to try to disprove he exists.
Because you're trying to use time that I don't think God exists in time. We need it for our teeny little minds to comprehend things. So you're trying to use our idea of time and overlap it with God's idea of time, and they're not the same.
Right. Yeah, one of the things interesting that I learned in Alpha was, on the first day God did this, and on the second day God did this, and blankety, blankety, blank, and on the seventh day he thought everything was very good, and he rested. Well, we have no idea what day was.
Exactly.
And, in fact, even one of my pastors talked about the Greek or Hebrew meaning for the word day, and it was not 24 hours of 60 minutes of 60 seconds. So, anyway.
People disagree with that.
People disagree with what?
Disagree with everything.
With the fact that you're saying that it wasn't a full day.
Well, I'm saying it could have been a year.
Why?
Because the Greek or Hebrew meaning for the word day.
I don't think it matters, do you?
No, I don't. It doesn't matter in the big picture. It's just when a bunch of lazy Christians want to sit around and argue about something that doesn't matter. I agree with you. Now, I'm sure if Father Tattoo...
Okay.
In fact, Father Tattoo is laying on the couch at home with a 133-degree temperature and a washcloth on his head and a thermometer in his mouth, and he just shot up on his couch and said, "It does matter. It does matter. Yes, it does matter."
Now listen to me. Here I'm reading of Genesis 1.
Listen to me.
Listen to me. I'm going to read God's word. Okay, 1:4, it says, "And God saw the light, it was good, and he approved it, and God separated the light from the darkness." And verse 5, "And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning, one day." So where's the year come in?
Well, the sun and the
1,000
moon
years
are not created till much later, right? Like day 5.
Yeah,
Verse
how could we
"And
have
God
evening
said, let
and
there
darkness
be a firmament."
Huh? What?
In verse 6, "And God said, let there be a firmament, at the expanse of the sky, in the midst of the waters, and it separated waters." God made the firmament, separated waters, which were under the expanse of the waters. Okay.
Okay, since you're the only one with an internet connection in here today, do me a favor and look up the Greek and Hebrew translation for the word day, please. Okay, would you do that?
Sure.
And then we can finally put this to rest. Finally put this to rest.
Do you think we'll actually be able to put it to rest?
Yes.
No.
I'm going to move on.
He's showing
I'm going to move this topic. Well, you wanted to say
I
something.
had a question. So, I am embarking on reading the Bible since the start of the year, but I've got an audio Bible, so it takes me a while because I have to keep it, and it's a dramatic one, but it's faithful to the scripture. They don't play with that. So I'm in Chronicles at the moment. So I am noticing that nations are being wiped out and destroyed and judged. And my question would be, does that stop now? And does it happen today? And if not, why not in some senses? Like maybe we'd argue that Nazi Germany was wiped out. But does God judge nations today like he did in the Old Testament?
Well,
because it's fairly clear that nations get wiped out and are to get wiped out. And
all right, now, I don't know the exact answer to this, but I have an idea. I've thought about this before. Is it God saying, "I'm going to wipe you out"?
Sometimes it is.
Or is it man saying, "God must have wiped him out"? Because I know there's a lot of stories in the Bible where man's perception was God did that. We clearly know God parted the sea. We clearly know he brought the floods. We clearly know that he wiped out Sodom and Gomorrah. But if something terrible happens and some guy says, they were a sinful little community, I think God did that.
Why would that be in the word then? If that was the case.
Well, there's a lot of things in the word that man says about.
Well, yeah.
I'm not saying that it's not true,
but there are occasions where it's fairly explicit that God says this nation is to be wiped out and commands.
Yeah, I believe that if there's a place in the Bible that says if your nation, if your society, if your people, if your town, if your tribe, whatever word is used to describe a group of people, maybe even a family.
Well, even the plagues. What about the plague? I'm not saying it. I'm just saying it happened. I know it happens.
Okay.
So, do you think it still happens?
The reason I'm not such a big plague guy is because we've invented medicine that have gotten rid of plagues. I believe that if God truly sent that plague, that polio was a plague, and it was supposed to wipe out a certain number of people because of their sins.
In Egypt, so all the plagues and then the firstborn. So that's God potentially.
That was God saying he was going to do that.
Well, yeah. If your firstborn are going to be, the angel of death's going to pass over all the houses. That was God. That was God saying it, wasn't it?
Was it God saying it, or was it Moses saying it?
That's what you got to look at. That's what I'm learning in my Bible studies. Now, if Chris Roloff's listening, he's smarter than any of us on this. He can call in and let us know.
What do you think, Bob?
He's still looking
I'm
up
reading.
He's still reading
Did
about
you get
days.
the Greek or Hebrew definition of day yet?
Well, there's a Hebrew.
And what is it?
It says YOWM, yom.
Okay.
It's the root word, to be hot, a day, weather lit from sunrise to sunset or from one sunset to the next. So one word can mean, but that's what they're saying on this. But there's so much here.
I'm going to take
Yom.
a chapter from my 4-year-old daughter's book, and she goes, a day, and then she specifies today. Like, we're going to do it someday. There's a day, but there's a specific today. And I don't think the Bible was saying specific today. It was a period, so man could get his mind wrapped around a period of time.
And I don't think it matters.
No,
In the end, it doesn't matter. Except, and we'll bring this around to Fratrician and then we'll move on, except when you get someone who believes that this is the year 5773, but tells you that 5773 years ago, Adam may not have been created. Right? That's when we go,
Right.
somehow I think that matters.
Right. In the Hebrew Bible, that is the beginning of creation.
Yeah. Okay, when we return on this gloriously 15% more fun Friday, we're going to talk about should pastors be able to speak politics from the
This will be
pulpit.
good.
And we obviously are going to acknowledge the Johnson Amendment, which makes it illegal. I'm not speaking of man's law here. I'm asking you within God's law, should that be a part of what is preached from the pulpit? Bob Montserrat, the Cat in the Hat, watching the Chad. Army Brad in the house, along with Maddie Smith and Maddie DeBolt. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and if I haven't told you lately, thanks for listening and watching. We love our jobs, and we couldn't do them without you. Nope, couldn't. Right here on The Truth. 99.3 KTIA Iowa, powered by webcast1live.com.
Get tired of pretending that life is perfect? If what they see isn't how you feel, God knows, and He understands. Chat now with someone who cares at groundwire.net.
It's like they want to get hit.
Need a body shop?
Minor Wreck Express saves you time and money.
Get away from us, you mean old credit card. We don't have any more money. We're in trouble now. Save us! Help! Somebody save us! Somebody help! Help! Save us!
Hi, I'm Tom Coates from Consumer Credit of Des Moines. If your credit card's a little too animated, give us a call.
Hooray! We're saved! Consumer Credit, you're our hero!
Well, hi, I'm Rob Spearman. I'm a broker owner of RE/MAX Real Estate Concepts in Des Moines, Iowa. Give us a call if you're looking at buying or selling a home, or if you're having trouble on your mortgage payments or looking to purchase foreclosures. We have the agents to help you, experienced, outstanding agents. Our office number is 515-276-2872. Or if you'd like to look at homes, go to our website, homeconnectusa.com.
Hi, I'm J. Michael McCoy, and about 20 years ago, I went to a used car salesman by the name of John Hewitt. He had a little shop over there on North 2nd Avenue called John's Auto Sales, and I bought a car. I found that experience to be one that I had never had before from a used car salesman. He was honest, he was dependable, he had integrity, and he did what he said he was going to do. Well, over the years, between my kids and grandkids, I've purchased 7 vehicles from John's Auto Sales. And last month, I asked him to be a sponsor. And he said not only would he like to be a sponsor, but he would offer a $100 tithe for every customer that came and bought a car from him directly to the church of your choice. I can tell you about their huge selection. I can tell you about their years of experience. I can tell you about their honest integrity. But all I really need to tell you is that I bought 7 cars, and you can trust them. John's Auto Sales, 5435 2nd Avenue, Des Moines.
You need a good ride when you hit the trail. Trust the man with the cars, and he goes by the name of Big John. Big John. Big John.
If you sit in the back pew or the front pew, it's your voice we want to hear. The phone lines are open, so call 855-244-0077. Now, here's J. Michael McCoy.
Welcome back. It's the 21st day of September in the Lord's year 5773, or 2012 for us Gentiles. 22 before the top Salem Radio Network. At the top of the hour, and then Steve Dace's best.
I've been called a Gentile before. Not for a while. No.
It's the Gentiles year 2012.
Yeah,
all right, I want to show you something here. Yeah. Oh, no, do Maddie's camera. Here, Maddie's camera. That's so much better than Maddie. All right. This is the logo for a new Christian business group I'm starting called Testify. We're going to meet the first Wednesday of every month at Incredible Pizza. They have a room. It's actually the theater room that they have given to us specifically for this meeting. It's $10, and you get a meal, all you want to eat, drink, dessert, and everything with that. I can tell you what I have planned for it, but I'm not going to make the final decision on what we're going to do at this meeting. I'm going to let those people that want to be a part of the group determine that. My tentative plan is there will be prayer requests. There will be prayers. We're going to have famous authors and other people like that on Skype that we can do a question and answer to. And then someone each week locally will give their testimony. There will also be an opportunity for people to share about their businesses. If they have samples or products or paraphernalia or pamphlets, well, that's a lot of P's. For their business, they will be given a table free of charge to set up and show their wares. This is a brash and bold business networking group where everybody there happens to believe in Jesus Christ. Most Christian business groups shy away from networking. They somehow feel that's not good in the Lord's eyes. The Lord loves it. He loves us to make money so we can share it with our brothers and sisters and help, Tammy's kids get braces and Bob, mother, get the health care she needs. And the only way that happens is if we make money. So he blesses our Christian businesses, so we need to network. So it's called Testify. The logo does not have hair on top. That's Maddie's hair. It's the first Monday of every month. 11:30 to 1:30.
It says Wednesday on here, mate.
What did I say?
Monday.
I'm wrong. It's the first Wednesday of every month. Testify Wednesday. And Incredible Pizza on 86th Street in the beautiful metropolis of Urbandale.
Okay. Are you going to be going around in those cars, Mac? That'd be good. We could have a little car race.
Yeah! See, when we're done.
Back,
okay. Maddie Smith in the house along with Maddie DeBolt producing today because Father Tattoo is, well, the truth of the matter is he sinned and God's punishing him.
It could have. No, seriously, one of them tattoos could have got an infection.
It could have.
I mean, that's seriously.
He just got all those brand new tattoos last week. And he got sick, started getting sick on Wednesday, got a little sicker on Thursday. Yeah. Somehow was well enough to do his show last night.
Well.
But then this morning, as soon as I popped up on Facebook, there he was. He made coughing sounds on Facebook, like...
I'm not feeling very good. I'm going to get Maddie to produce the shows today, okay?
He's probably out riding his motorcycle.
Can't blame him. Beautiful day.
It is a beautiful day.
Army Brad in here also, and Bob Monster at the Cat in the Hat watching the chat. 1-855-244-0077 to THX. Give in and submit to that I was correct.
No, he's not there now.
He's not?
No.
Oh, I made him mad. I told him he was wrong.
I guess so.
Okay, do you think, looking through a biblical worldview, so I'm not asking about the law, do you think pastors should be able to speak politics from the pulpit? Now, there is an amendment to our Constitution called the Johnson Amendment, which says a pastor cannot call out and endorse a candidate by name. If a pastor wants to get up and talk about conservative values versus liberal values and why, as Christians, we should embrace conservative values over, that's okay. That does not interfere with the Johnson Amendment. What interferes with the Johnson Amendment is when you stand up and you say, please vote for XYZ candidate. Vote for Mitt Romney. Here's why you should vote for Barack Obama. Here's why you had a hairball, right? Just at that very second in time, a hairball. This is why you should vote for Mitt Romney. That is illegal, but I'm not talking legally. I'm talking about if you, Maddie Smith, wants the input, advice from your pastor or pastors about how you should vote. Do you want to see his or her worldview through your church in the pulpit?
No.
No.
Nope.
Why?
Not interested.
Okay.
No, I'm not really not. I don't think it's relevant. We've got a view that supersedes worldviews, and that's what I would imagine. I've not spoken to the pastors at Hope, but I would suggest, seeing as they never talk about politics at church, that's something that they would agree. But no, I don't. It doesn't matter what our pastors believe in.
Okay.
To me, it doesn't.
Brad?
Respectfully disagree with Maddie, because I believe...
You don't have to be respectful to Maddie. He's
I
a
still
Brit.
am going to, but... While I don't disagree that they shouldn't be endorsing a specific candidate, where do you draw the line between your morals and your beliefs and politics? They're going to bleed over. Use abortion, one of Mac's favorite subjects. If there's a religious view of that, and if you don't express your religious view, then why even follow Christianity?
I agree, but that's where you're talking. Mac's talking parts, because every issue you talk about is political. I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that in the sermons that I've heard at Hope or anywhere else that there's not a political component. There is.
But let me tell you something interesting that I heard the other day from a pastor. 50 years ago, if a pastor in any denomination, any Christian denomination, would have stood behind the pulpit and said, marriage is between a man and a woman, at the end of the service, everybody would have said, why did he bring that up? Of course it is. We would never think differently. So society has pushed that subject into politics.
But I would say it's the other way. Politics has moved into our moral and religious lives.
But I think
we've allowed it because we didn't want to talk about it.
But I think we're talking party politics, because it depends how you define it. Because everything's a political issue. Gay marriage is political, but it's not. I don't think it's necessarily it might be party political, it might not. But the Bible has a view on it. The Bible has a view on lots of different things, and I think that's what the pastor's job is to reflect that.
Here's a good subject to think about, and we won't switch subjects yet, but what political conversation is not covered in the Bible? What conversation politically is not covered in the Bible? I'm going to write that down. That'd be a good one to think about. Definitely. My answer would be none.
I think you're right.
But it's where you reach them, where you approach them from.
What do you mean by that?
Well, it's how you see them. So for example, if pastor one of the pastors at Hope, say Pastor Mike was talking about abortion, and he talked about it, does he talk about it from God's point of view or from the Republican Party's point of view?
He talks about it from God's.
But that's fine. That's good.
But I'm not sure abortion is ever mentioned in the Bible.
No.
But in the Ten Commandments, thou shalt not murder.
But it's a political issue. And like gay marriage, when I've heard gay marriage talked about at Hope, it's talked about from God's point of view.
Right.
Which supersedes. And that's what I'm saying. It supersedes politics.
Yeah.
Well, I think that if you look at a biblical account, and we're running out of time, but when the Pharisees tried to get Jesus to comment on who to pay taxes to.
Right. And Jesus said, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, render unto God what is God's.
Yeah.
Okay, we're coming back live here on a Friday afternoon. Maddie Smith, Bob Montserrat, Army Brad, Maddie DeBolt, and me. Live on KTIA.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
It's like they want to get hit.
Need a body shop?
Minor Wreck Express saves you time and money.
Whether you're 10, 25, 50, 80 years old and beyond, everyone needs to live within their means. I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America. For almost a quarter of a century, we've helped people of all ages learn to manage their personal finances to benefit them far into the future. When problems arise, we've got the experience you need to make those debt problems go away. Got financial problems? Call Consumer Credit of America.
Well, hi, I'm Rob Spearman. I'm a broker owner of RE/MAX Real Estate Concepts in Des Moines, Iowa. Give us a call if you're looking at buying or selling a home, or if you're having trouble on your mortgage payments or looking to purchase foreclosures. We have the agents to help you, experienced, outstanding agents. Our office number is 515-276-2872. Or if you'd like to look at homes, go to our website, homeconnectusa.com.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Come on now, let's reason together. The phone lines are open, and it's your voice we want to hear. So call 855-244-0077. Now, here's J. Michael McCoy.
All right, welcome back. It is the 21st day of September, and the Lord's year, what do we choose, 2012 or 5773?
Both.
Okay. I'm writing on my list of View from the Pew questions for Ask the Pastor. What political topic is not covered in the Bible? Because I don't think that's a question you can just shoot at somebody off the cuff. I think you probably have to sit down and investigate that. But I would...
nuclear armament.
I'm going to... thou shalt not kill.
Yes, I suppose.
But I'm going to start having some pastors review that because I'm curious to see. I'm going to guess that God, in His impotent wisdom, determined that everything that was in that Bible would be good for all mankind forever and ever. No, He knew that we were going to have this thing called abortion, but He didn't. But Paul didn't know what it said. He didn't know that word, so he just said, "Thou shalt not murder." But the question is. Question is, why didn't he? Has he signed? See, they justify abortion. Some of the left justifies abortion because it's a zygote or a clump of cells or blah 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 blah. But yet, 3 weeks into a pregnancy, that fetus has a DNA, a circulatory system, its own genetic code separate from its mother's. did God really think people were going to pick on 3 weeks and say, okay, but then I can have an abortion within the first 3 weeks of my pregnancy? But the problem is most women don't know they're pregnant until the 5th or 6th week.
Well, that, of course, God knows everything, you know. So he knows man is going to be, manipulating.
I just wonder
his commands.
You know, this goes back to that thing I talked about earlier. Brad, you weren't here yet. I was in a conversation with somebody on the internet the other day, and they're an atheist, and I love them to death, and I respect them, and we have good conversations. And I said something about, well, it's only because of your mental disorder are you not able to recognize the God as your creator. And all of a sudden, we went over on personal chat. So I knew that I'd done something wrong. She said, I kind of take offense to the fact that you say I have a mental disorder because I don't recognize your God. And I said, well, why else? I'm not knocking you. I'm actually giving you credit. I'm saying that you're mentally handicapped. You know, you don't knock the kid with cerebral palsy and kick him in the butt and tell him to run faster. You excuse him from running because you know he has a disability. Well, God exists. Anybody in this room think God doesn't exist? Or we're all on God exists. Okay.
Even Satan agrees with that.
Huh?
Satan agrees with that, too.
Okay, Satan knows God exists.
Absolutely.
So if we know God exists, and there's no doubt in our mind, but somebody out there says there is no God, they're either in denial or they have a mental disorder because we know God exists. You don't get to choose, well, okay, God exists for you, but he doesn't exist for you. No, God exists. You may not choose to recognize him.
Or you may be so lost that you can't see the light. So.
But that means you have a mental disorder about seeing light.
Okay.
Right? Because God doesn't move away, right? God doesn't move away from people. Now, we talked earlier about how he does remove his
grace.
His grace.
Protection.
But we only have one example of that, don't we? Job is the only example of that.
Job?
Isn't Job the only example where Satan and God negotiate and to prove a point, which God knew how it would end, stupid Satan. You're betting on the guy that knows the end of the game. But he said, okay, I'll remove that, and you go ahead and try to taint him, and you won't get it done.
Well, I mean, part of that also was David when he sinned, and, he had options. I mean, there's...
Yeah, but...
There's always consequences to actions that God will not necessarily, like David and David's adultery there was consequences.
Yeah, even
to
the Israelites, when they sinned, they were getting knocked out by a plague, and the only way to save them was to have Aaron had to run down there and hold up the serpent to look at that. And
can I ask a question, Mac, about your friend who's in it? What do they think of Jesus? Do they believe that Jesus existed?
Yeah.
So they believe Jesus existed?
They believe a man named Jesus existed.
And
he didn't rise from the dead. He didn't. It's just a storybook.
Well, he's in the. There's credible. Josephus wrote about Jesus.
Right.
It's in the history.
But then, have they never read any of his stuff?
Well, they say this woman that I love to death claims that she's read the Bible 5 times.
Well, I mean,
and yet I know she hasn't because she doesn't know simple things that are just about the Bible.
It's what I would say to an atheist. I don't get into that many arguments with atheists, but if I did, I would say, if you don't believe, if you read what Jesus said and some of his teachings and how radical and how it's just nobody ever spoke and taught like that. Start there, and you might, but I don't think people start there. People don't. A lot of people don't want to know. They just want to go. They just want to find an easy. Oh well, the world's this old, or this didn't happen, or that happened in the Old Testament, and they don't really want to go to the heart of it. If they go to Jesus is at the heart of it.
I believe that we all know who Bruce Stone is, right?
No.
Yeah, you do. My favorite liberal Bruce, who used to come on the radio, and he's just a pathetic atheist. He was the guy that was on the radio with us that day.
He was all right.
He was the guy that, was so offended because I prayed for him,
Why would somebody be offended at that?
I don't know. He just was. He got very offended. He told me many times afterwards. He plays poker with me, But I'm convinced that in his last breath he'll call out to Jesus. But he doesn't have the, he's got a mental disorder. I'm going to put it on Facebook and I'm going to be attacked for it. Attention all atheists. Congratulations, it's not your fault. You have a mental disorder.
I think you'd be right for doing it.
You know, I can't otherwise. You see this phone? You see this phone, Maddie? Well, if you said I had no phone in my hand, and we could see that you had vision and you could see things. How many fingers am I holding up? You can do that, right. But you saw no phone. We'd go, there's something wrong with that guy, right? There's something wrong with that guy.
Well, how about maybe the fact that Satan, and through his minion, is blocking the truth?
Mental disorder.
You could call a mental disorder something that has...
I think Satan's a big mental disorder.
Yeah, he speaks lies. His role is to kill, steal, kill, and destroy.
Yeah.
And also to lie. He's the father of lies, so he will lie to you, and you can believe those lies.
Right.
So, you could call it a mental disorder, but I'm just saying that we're dealing with spiritual things.
A what?
Religious disorder.
No.
A moral disorder.
You've heard of religious orders? Well, there's a religious disorder.
No, it's a mental disorder. There are people who are colorblind. There are people who can't taste. There are people who can't see. There are people who have neurological issues where they can't feel. These people have a mental disorder which does not allow them to create a relationship with God, their creator. And on that note, we'll see you. Have a great weekend. Remember to go to church this weekend. I'll meet you there if you want to. Bye-bye.